receive up to like $10,000 in donations for the year. And with the plans that I have and the vision I have for 217 Recovery, and that's just not going to cut it. So, I wanted to go the long route, and there's a lot more documents you have to do and a lot more background they're going to do on you and dig in, and there's nothing that we have to hide, so I wasn't afraid of that, but it just costs more money and it's a lot more paperwork. So I wanted to take my time. I wanted to do it right. I didn't want to just rush and jump with a little quick one and then, you can always go back and do it later. I'm like, no, just take my time, make sure I have everything. And we went and saw a lawyer in Boyne City. I want to say his name's McCleaver, but I don't think that's right. It might be right. So if it is, hey man, thanks. Mm-hmm. But went and saw him twice. Ryan went with me down there. And, the first time he just laughed at us and said, what are you trying to do here? What is this? His school report? And I was like, no, I'm going to give that to the government. And he just laughed. No, you're not. So he gave us some pointers and showed us kind of what we needed to do. And then we went back again and he's like, oh man, your stuff's all over the place. And I'm like, I know, that's how I work. So, big thanks to him for the little advice that he did give. And, I went through and just put it all together, and they came back, and I got the letter, which they said would be getting in June if I did everything, which didn't make any sense to me. They got a letter on St. Patrick's Day, and it said, we've got your money, we've cashed it. Now we're going to start looking through your stuff. We'll let you know in 90 days if you're approved, 180 days if you're not. Which really confused me. As well, I'll probably know then if I don't hear from you in 90 days that I'm not approved. But thanks for making me wait to 180. So I was really kind of confused about that. But then when I got the letter yesterday, I thought, oh my God. And just the other day, I was looking for my mom's business to see, because I was going to maybe make her a logo for the company or something, and I couldn't find her business on there. I found my grandfather's old business. And then I thought, I'm going to search for 217 Recovery to see if, we're in there as a charitable organization yet. And I remember the website saying that things have been delayed online and, March and April, they're behind or something. Okay. So I put in 217 Recovery and we didn't pop up. And I put in our EIN number, and that's like a social security number for businesses. We didn't pop up as a chair. So I'm like, man. So now I get this letter. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like this, it's early. That's a good sign. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute. I just looked and we weren't. So I was kind of torn, and I sat out in my car for a minute, and I was just thinking, like, what is this going to do? And what is it going to say? And, should I call or text our friend Lisa before I open this? And I'm like, no, I gotta just take it in. I'll show Marnie and we'll open it together. And I opened it, and then it was just such a relief. And it was a great feeling to know that we've been approved and we are officially a public charity and we are tax exempt and we can take donations now and move forward with what we want to do. And the people that we're going to help, they might be listening now, they might not, but we're going to help a lot of people. Yeah. And that's something that that's the purpose that I was looking for when I was in jail. And I prayed to God to let that be the last drink that I ever have, and to actually show me what my purpose is and to let me help people. I mean, this is what he was talking. This is what he had for me, and I had to work for it, and I don't mind it. And it's but I didn't feel complete. I didn't feel like, yay, game's over. I just felt like, okay, that's cool.
What's next?
Yeah, now what? And I couldn't have done without God, that's for sure. And the fact that it was like approved right off the bat, I thought there's 60% chance it might be, but probably not. And I tried to block that out because I don't like to think negative, and I don't like to start thinking about stuff that's not even happened yet to just worry myself more. And that's something that I've had to kind of learn to do, and it's hard. It's hard to do sometimes, but yeah, so we're approved, and that was awesome. And then Kevin sent me the letter, and he said very nice things about 217 Recovery and the podcast. And, I appreciate Kevin, and, he's down there in St. Louis, Missouri, but he's sharing, 217 Recovery and the podcast with his people in recovery. And that's very cool. And without that, we wouldn't grow. And even if you're like, yeah, your podcast's all right, man, you never know who you're going to help with it. You know, some episodes are better than others. You know, I'll say that every time. But, you know, just share us. You know, that's all we ask for you. You know, you don't need to donate money. I think we got people for that. And Kevin, thanks again. No, I'm not saying your money's not appreciated. Trust me. And if you would like to donate, feel free. But one of the things you can do is just share the podcast and get the word out, you know, that we do have resources on our website. We like to have fun in recovery, and we're not ashamed of being in recovery. We're proud people, and we're good people.
Yes, we are. I will be the first to say how incredibly proud I am of you for all your hard work on getting all that paperwork in and getting that done. I know how I was there for when you were frustrated and struggling through it, but it all paid off, and there's so many doors that have opened for 217, and you made it possible.
Yeah.
So props to you, Corey.
That's pretty cool. And there were some doubters out there, and that's one thing that it got old. When I would talk about, oh, well, when we're a 501c3, you know, once we get the 501c3, and you could tell people doubted. Oh yeah, Corey, yeah, it sounds good. Yep. That sounds great. But I knew that I didn't have the money until January, and I knew I wouldn't have the money until January. I mean, I could have borrowed it from people. And a big props to NMRE too, Northern Michigan Regional Entity. They actually supported us big time with our becoming a 501c3. So big props to them. And we're going to work, I'm sure, with them quite a bit, as well as Southwest Michigan Behavioral Health. Got some ideas I'm going to throw their way. But yeah, the people that would hear me talk about the things that, you know, this is what we're going to do. And, you know, once we get the 501c3, once we're recognized, and yeah. And then, you know, I'm telling people like Anna, like, hey, you know, don't worry. This is what we're going to do. And this is what your job's going to be. And, you know, people are like, oh yeah, that sounds good, but they just is a pipe dream, you know, and it wasn't. You know, I just knew that at the time, you know, I had to wait for the right time, and I had to make sure I had all my ducks in a row. I had to write a bunch of stuff. We had to have a board. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I asked Tyrone, how does that feel to be, you know, president of 501c3? And he was like, man, no, he didn't say that, but he was pretty pumped. And, yeah, Chris, and all those guys, I can't wait to get them on board full time. I know Chris's problem is he likes to work, like physical work. He likes to get outside. He likes to do work. And this is going to be a lot of work, but I think it's going to be different for Chris. And I hope he's up to the challenge, you know, and if he's not, that's fine too, but he's still got to go on tour with us. Right. Yeah. Because those are things we're doing.
Yeah,
you know,
I know.
And
I know. It's exciting. All these things are actually becoming reality now. Mm-hmm. So.
And that just goes
saddle up.
It just goes to show you that anybody can do it. Like, you can do it. Mm-hmm. And there's been many obstacles in my way. There were many walls. There were many people. But I just kept going. And I'm not done yet. You know, when I say we're going to go on tour and we're going to talk at a venue, you know, like people would normally show up for a concert, but we're going to be there talking. We are going to do that, you know. And people can look at me and do the same thing that they did about the 501c3 or about the transportation service that we're going to start. Oh, okay, yeah, Corey's on. Yeah, keep thinking that. And then when you go to get your tickets that support us, then you'll be like, damn, he was right. He is doing it. And it just, you know, people tell me that I'm an inspiration to them, and that's cool. But they actually inspire me. You know, when they look to me and go, wow, like, that dude didn't let anybody hold him down. Like, he got told no so many times, and he just said, nope, not what I'm looking for. You know, I'm going to keep going until I get it. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm going to have a baby too.
Yeah.
Not out of my body though, but I'm just saying. Say hi to your dad again. Hey, hey, Marty's dead. No, nah, so yeah, pretty excited about that. And again, if you're just like, man, I wanted to hear some talk about recovery, and I mean, there was some recovery talk in there, because the old me, once they told me no, or once I got it in my mind that it was too hard, or if it was too much of a hassle, then I would have
You
stopped.
wouldn't even gotten that far.
No, I wouldn't have. I would have given up right away. I would have given up, never even done the first podcast.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Ryan, not Ryan Beckman, but this other Ryan. I don't know how to say his last name. It starts with an S. It's Shower or something. But when he got out of treatment, he came to Nathan's house, and he just told me how disappointed he was in me. And I was like, what? What do you mean? He's like, I thought you would have had this podcast started. And he got out of treatment like a week or two after I did. So it wasn't like I had been out for months. I mean, I had pretty much just gotten out trying to get a job. And when he came to the house and said that, I was like, fine. Mm-hmm. And if he wouldn't have said that, I don't know. And it's the people that I've met along the way that inspire me too. And that really lit a fire to my ass. And I just said, who cares if it sucks? Who cares if it's only 15 minutes long? I think our first episodes are like 15 minutes because that's all Spreaker gave you at first, on the free plan. And then we asked for donations and people on Facebook, and we did a GoFundMe, and we needed just, equipment, and we needed another microphone. I just had one microphone at the time, and to get a website going and stuff like that. And of course, the first website, it was very economical, and I was dragging my feet on that. I'm like, what do I do? Where do I go? I don't know. And found this one that was app based, and you had to have an Apple product, but it was only $10 a month. And I thought, that we can swing, or I can swing. And, but the Spreaker, and then we bought a little bit more, and it was like $80 a year. And then we ended up upgrading again. And then I think I just started paying for the upgrades after the first one. But, and then my mom loaned me the money to get the website, the one we have now. It was like, I don't know, it wasn't that much really, but it was like a couple $100, maybe a little less for the whole year. And the website that we have now, I think looks pretty kick-ass. I mean, there's some things, of course, I always want to change, but I could do it right now, change it, and then in 2 minutes would want to change it to something else. I never stop. That's why there's like 18,000 217 recovery logos. It's because I'm never satisfied. Which is not a bad thing. No, but it is. I keep some stuff the same. But I don't know. I'm always wanting to move forward and do things more and better, and I've always been like that, I guess. But with this, when I set my mind to it, that I actually did it. So this does cover recovery talk.
Yes.
This does. So, I want to give a shout out to Chris. We call him Critter Man. Give him a big shout out. He called me the other day, and you get those messages from people. And I think you were here. I think you're about to leave for work. Or you're about to leave for something. You're always trying to leave because you can't stand me. No, just
That's
kidding.
not true.
But you were going somewhere, and I got a message from him. He said, "Hey, do you have a minute?" And if you get a message from someone that is in recovery and early recovery, and they go, "Hey, do you have a minute?" Normally you're like, "Oh, yeah, I have an hour." I'll listen to you. So at that time, I didn't have a minute, so I was like, give me a few minutes, and I'll holler back at you. And finally got a hold of him, and he's doing great. Chris is doing great. He's moved down to Nashville now, and he was on his way to Florida for a business trip or something, and he was telling me about how he had introduced 217 Recovery to the group of people in recovery down there in Nashville and on this trip to Florida, and said that the guys were listening to it and they were digging it, and he said that they were relating to some of the stories and some of the silliness that I was spewing. Uh-huh. And so, it's people like that, like Chris, like Kevin, that just, really help spread the message of 217 Recovery. And it's not for everybody. Some people want to hear a doctor talk about it, and that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor. Doctor of love. No, I know a few things, but, yeah, so big props to him. And just, there's a lot of people I want to give props to and say hello to, but it's not Thursday. So that's when we do the shout outs. But I did just want to mention those guys real quick. Was on Brenda Lane's show. Brenda Lane is an old coworker, friend of mine from Benton Harbor days when I was in radio there. She has a show called Underpinnings podcast with Brenda Lane.